Catherine doesn't talk. She doesn't talk about herself at all. She talks about being grateful, appreciating life, and appreciating her family. And that is what I think really hits home for so many people. The fact that here's a woman that has everything. She is gracious about it. She's been humbled by this devastating medical emergency in her life, and because of it, has come out the other side with a renewed perspective on what life really means. It's love, it's family, it's all of it. There has been a lot of celebrity news. There's just been so much gross behavior going on with celebrities that I really felt like it was time for a palate cleanse. I had been wanting to make a video on Princess Catherine, the beautiful Princess of Wales, being cancer-free for some time now. It is a subject that is particularly to my heart. I myself am a cancer survivor. In 2017, I was diagnosed with stage 3 rectal cancer at the age of 43. I have been through some things as well. So for me to watch Catherine go through everything she has gone through in the last year was especially just poignant for me. And it was such a celebration in our house when she announced last month that she was indeed remission from cancer. And I thought it would be a good idea to go through the timeline that the Princess of Wales has undergone in this last year. It's a real study on grace. It's a study about dignity, how to hold yourself and just carry yourself while controversy is all around you. The Princess of Wales, Catherine, was subject to all kinds of disgusting bullying through the time that she was silent in between when she first made the announcement in January 2024 that she had undergone abdominal surgery to just 2.5 months later in March 2024 when she had to make an announcement actually discussing what were the details, what she went through, because during that time, it was crazy, all the rumors. So I thought it would be really good and interesting to take a look back on that and to really look at it as just a character study of how we should carry ourselves. Catherine is such a beautiful inspiration to so many around the world. Not only is she beautiful on the outside, but she truly is beautiful on the inside. So let's get going. Everything that Catherine had to endure over the last year. So all of us know by now, it was announced that Catherine, the Princess of Wales, is now in remission from cancer. And I think the whole world really sighed a collective sigh of relief to know that Catherine was in remission, starting to feel a little bit better. She has now been out, been seen more and more, although her royal diary has not been filled to capacity like it has been in years past. She is focused on recovery. She's focused on taking duties little by little and getting out there and getting to work with her patronages and her charities. The year that Catherine had to endure, how to hold yourself when you're under immense pressure, and how sometimes not saying anything for a while, although it can be excruciating, when you do finally speak and you speak with dignity and grace like Catherine did, how you can emerge victorious and more respected and loved than ever. The woman has never set a foot wrong. So back on January 17th, 2024, Buckingham Palace released a statement that Kate had undergone abdominal surgery. And I am referencing an article whose title I found particularly gross, and I thought it was a good one to look at because it really shows just how nasty the press was regarding Catherine around that time. So the official statement from the palace said that the surgery was successful and was expected that she would remain in hospital for 10 to 14 days before returning home to continue her recovery. And based on the current medical advice, she is unlikely to return to her public duties until after Easter. Now, just the fact that she was to remain in hospital after the abdominal surgery is what really started to set the press speculation on fire. Everyone was speculating what's going on, and it just went from there. It was wild. And it was said at the time that Prince William obviously wants to keep as many details as he can regarding his family's intimate private life private. They're the British royal family, but they're also a family that does want certain things private. So obviously they wanted to try to keep all of the intimate details about the surgery out of the public eye. But then again, they knew that if Catherine was going to be out of commission and not seen for a while, that the public speculation was going to be wild. So I think that's basically why they released any information about the surgery at all. It was a little bit more of a crushing blow too, that on the very same day, the palace had released that Prince Charles himself was undergoing procedures. It was a corrective surgery for a benign enlarged prostate. So at that point, we didn't really know what was going on with both the king and with Catherine, but we knew that they were undergoing major surgeries. And for example, they were quoting in this Yahoo Entertainment article, this Dr. Ryan Neinstein, who was a New York City plastic surgery doctor, who was speculating that maybe she underwent a tummy tuck. And the reason for his speculation was because he had seen a 60% increase in demand over the past year for those types of procedures. So okay, whatever. There was also some yucky talk about, had she undergone a hysterectomy? Was it something having to do with all of her 3 pregnancies where she had experienced the hyperemesis gravidarum? I can't even say that word, you guys. But it was that condition where women in their first trimester have grave morning sickness to the point that they need to be hospitalized. And Kate had suffered that through all 3 of her pregnancies. So people were speculating that maybe the abdominal surgery had something to do with that in relation to any complications that Kate might have had long-term from undergoing the hyperemesis gravidarum. I think that's how you say it. Please don't quote me. I know I probably butchered it. Some people also were speculating that it was saying more troubling, some surmised damage may be the result of a rumored eating disorder. So it got a little bit crazy and it got a little bit out of hand. So between January 17th, 2024 and very early March, it was at a fever pitch. You had this whole Where's Kate campaign going on over social media. People that are fans of Harry and Meghan were particularly vicious and nasty during this time, talking about stuff like, oh, Prince William was having an affair and that's why Kate was out of the limelight, because she was so distraught over an affair. People were talking about all kinds of nasty things. They maintained a dignified silence throughout this whole time. But it got to the point where Catherine and William, I'm sure, felt that they had to basically break precedence and release a statement from Catherine to the public where she detailed what had been going on with her health. In March 2024, Catherine released the video where she tells the world that she did have her abdominal surgery in January, and they thought at the time that the condition was non-cancerous, but then they did find that cancer was present. So I can remember watching that and being just really devastated for Catherine and her family, and I could immediately understand and appreciate everything that she was going through. When you receive a diagnosis like that, you are immediately thinking about your children. You're thinking about what's going to happen to them. You don't know how long you have. You don't know how much time you have with them. Your mind goes in every dark place that you could ever imagine. So I am absolutely 100% positive that this is everything that Catherine was going through, just worrying and wondering about her children, about her future. Everything behind the scenes probably was so emotionally devastating. And the fact that William and Catherine basically were forced into her making this statement because of all the negative attention on social media and bullying that they were undergoing probably was particularly damaging. Now, to this day, we don't know what type of cancer Catherine had, and honestly, I don't really care what type of cancer she had because that is Catherine and William's business. I'm not going to speculate, but I can tell you that my journey involved 2 rounds of chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery. Not in that order, but it is a process. It is a long process. I remember when I asked my oncologist how long is all of this going to last, and she basically told me, you know what? She didn't sugarcoat it. She said, this is going to be the roughest year of your life. It's going to be your year of cancer, but let's just be aggressive and let's just get you through this. So that's exactly what happened. I was diagnosed in March 2017, and by May 17, I was already deep into my first round of chemotherapy and pelvic radiation. My first round of chemotherapy was involving pills, it was oral, and then I also had to have pelvic radiation. In August 2017, I had my cancer removal surgery, 2 months of recouping, and then I went into my second round of therapy, which was IV chemo. I had to have a port put in, and then I had that second round after the surgery. So for me, it really was a whole year of cancer. And from what I can see with Catherine's timeline, last year was basically her year of cancer. So she had her surgery, and then she had what they said in the press was her preventative chemotherapy. I am sure that after the surgery, Catherine's medical team wanted to really make sure that they were crossing every T and dotting every I, especially when someone that young with younger children is diagnosed. Trust me, the medical team really wants to make sure that they are aggressively seeking out and trying to find anything that might become a problem further down the road. So that is why I am sure that she was undergoing preventative chemotherapy. Personally, that's why I underwent IV chemo even after all the cancer was removed in my surgery. Doctors just want to be 100% sure that there is nothing hanging around that could cause problems later. So after March 24, when Catherine released that video where she explained to the world what was going on with her, thankfully, she was pretty much left alone. She was left alone to heal, to recover, to probably take the time to process, because I can tell you from personal experience that not only does cancer and the treatment for cancer take a physical toll on your body, but it also does take a mental toll. Again, especially when you have children, because not only are you worried for yourself, but overwhelmingly as a mom, all you're worrying about is the kids and how they're handling it, what they're going through. And quite honestly, what Princess Catherine had to go through, not only is she married into the most famous family on the planet, but the age that George and Charlotte were in particular when she was diagnosed, they were at an age where they can hear things, where they start growing, their minds are forming, they are smarter and smarter, they know that something is going on with mom, they worry, they have anxieties of their own. So as a mom, it's hard because not only are you trying to manage yourself, but you're trying to manage the emotions and the questions and the worries of your children. And rightly so, children want to know that everything is okay with their mom, they want to know that she's going to be okay. So I can only imagine everything that Catherine was going through. So thankfully, after that video was released, people pretty much left her alone. There were some yucky rumblings out there still on social media, but it wasn't bad as it was in those 2 months before she released that video. In between March 2024 and September 24, we didn't really hear much about Catherine. We knew that she was recovering from surgery, and we also knew that she was undergoing her preventative chemotherapy. Everyone pretty much left her alone. And I can remember during that time thinking, I know for certain all this woman is doing is trying to recover, rest, and take care of her children and her husband, but especially her children, because that is all you focus on. How are they managing themselves? How are they managing their emotions? When I was undergoing my treatment, my children were still very young. They were 4 years old. So in a way, I was insulated from a lot of emotional caregiving in the sense that I didn't have to share as much with them because they wouldn't have understood. And when you overshare with children that are very young, I just felt that it would be detrimental to them. So as long as they knew that mommy was home, even though she was in bed, she wasn't feeling that good, but she was still in the home, that to them was a huge comfort. But I remember thinking, because George and Charlotte were older, I knew that she was probably every single day trying to help manage their emotions and try to be there for them as much as she could. Sometimes I really do feel like it's harder on the people around you just because they do feel so helpless. They help and show up in ways that they can, but there are so many ways that they can't really help and they can't manage and they can't do anything because all the stuff that you're experiencing physically, all the stuff that you're experiencing emotionally, it just happens and it comes in waves, and it's hard to watch someone you love go through that. So I can only imagine what William was going through, and of course the children. And then my personal favorite royal moment of last year was when Catherine released the video in September about her cancer journey and how she was in recovery. I wanted to revisit the video and show you because it was such an absolutely beautiful, simple family moment. When I was watching that video, I didn't see members of a royal family. I just saw a regular, loving family. And that's what they really are at the heart of everything.
As the summer comes to an end, I cannot tell you what a relief it is to have finally completed my chemotherapy treatment. The last 9 months have been incredibly tough for us as a family. Life as you know it can change in an instant, and we've had to find a way to navigate the stormy waters and road unknown. The cancer journey is complex, scary, and unpredictable for everyone, especially those closest to you. With humility, it also brings you face to face with your own vulnerabilities in a way you've never considered before. And with that, a new perspective on everything.
Is this filming?
This time has above all reminded William and me to reflect and be grateful for the simple yet important things in life, which so many of us often take for granted, of simply loving and being loved. Doing what I can to stay cancer-free is now my focus. Although I have finished chemotherapy, my path to healing and full recovery is long, and I must continue to take each day as it comes. I am, however, looking forward to being back at work and undertaking a few more public engagements in the coming months when I can. Despite all that's gone before, I enter this new phase of recovery with a renewed sense of hope and appreciation of life. William and I are so grateful for the support we've received and have drawn great strength from all those who are helping us at this time. Everyone's kindness, empathy and compassion has been truly humbling. To all those who are continuing their own cancer journey, I remain with you, side by side, hand in hand. Out of darkness can come light. So let that light shine bright.
Every time, I'm a mess when I watch that. And what I love so much about that video is that Catherine doesn't talk. She doesn't talk about herself at all. She talks about being grateful for all of the love and support that the family has received. And she talks about appreciating life and appreciating her family. And that is what I think really hits home for so many people. The fact that here's a woman that has everything, or seemingly everything, right? But she is humble about it. She is gracious about it. She's been humbled by this devastating medical emergency in her life, and because of it, has come out the other side with a renewed perspective on what life really means. It's love, it's family, it's all of it. And I loved all of the scenes with the kiddos. I especially liked the scene with her parents and the kids and William around the table playing cards. I really love how close Catherine is to her family, when her and William were dating, he loved spending time with Catherine and her family, and he really bonded with them. And I think that her parents and her brother and sister really provided a model to what family could look like in the future. Because as we all know, Charles and Diana had their problems. They divorced. It was a very public and messy divorce. There was a lot of strife. There was a lot of emotional stuff going on for him. So when he found Catherine and he found his true love early in his life, when he first entered university, and he spends time with her, he spends time with her family, and he sees what they are all about, he really did know that there was light at the end of the tunnel, that yes, he loved his parents, but that was not going to be the model for his family. So that's one thing I really loved about that video. And I also loved how much George and Louis look like their grandfather Middleton, Papa Middleton. It's really cute to see. It's just a really beautiful testament to what family is all about. I will never get tired of watching that video. It reminds me of all the goodness in life. Despite all of that craziness out there, it just really comes down to family, love, gratitude, and appreciation. And that's why that it resonated with so many people. Catherine is real. She is genuine. She has emotion. She has been through the fire, come out the other end, more glorious and loved and respected than ever. It's just an awesome, beautiful testament to family and love. And then, as we all know, this past January, Catherine has a birthday, and then on social media officially announces that she is in remission from cancer, slowly and surely getting back into the public eye. She emerged as a joint patron along with William of the Royal Marsden, a hospital where she herself underwent chemotherapy. There was footage and articles and video of her meeting with cancer patients as they were sitting in the chairs getting their chemotherapy treatment, and it was really awesome to see. I can tell you that when I was undergoing IV chemo, it's just like how they show you in the movies and in these types of clips. You just sit in these chairs that look like lazy boys and you get your treatment, you get your chemotherapy cocktail medicine through all these tubes and things. And they encourage you to bring books, you can bring, your iPad, sit there, watch movies and stuff. But I can only imagine what those people went through when they're sitting there in the chair undergoing treatment and they look up and there's Catherine, the Princess of Wales. I know I would have probably lost it, but in a good way. What lies ahead for Catherine this year? Well, I can probably safely assume that while she is attending to some royal duties, her calendar isn't going to be as full as it was before, and that is completely understandable. When you undergo treatment, when you have poison pumped into your system, it does really take a long time for your body to recover. You can have really good days, and then you can have other days where you wake up and you just cannot do anything. It's like chronic fatigue syndrome, and it does take a long time to bounce back, and in some respects, you don't ever bounce back. And although I can't speak for Catherine, I can say that my fatigue levels were pretty bad, I would say, the first year after everything happened. So I sincerely hope that Catherine takes her time. She has been tirelessly serving the royal family since she married into the family in 2011. She is out there for the good of the family and out there for charities that she believes in. Catherine is the epitome of feminine grace. She is regal, and what makes her particularly powerful is that she is such a role model for girls. There aren't many public figures out there that carry themselves with the quiet dignity of a Princess Catherine. The public's respect of her comes from the fact that she carries herself with a quiet dignity, but from that quiet dignity comes her power, so to speak, and comes her influence. It makes people really want to find out what she thinks, what she believes, and that's why the public is fascinated with her, because they don't see her out there trying to steal the spotlight from the charities that she champions. When she's out with her husband and her family, you don't see Catherine angling for attention, angling for the nearest camera lens, trying to overshare, put herself out there. No, she always makes sure that whether she's visiting a children's hospice, whether she's visiting with children, like how she was in the National Art Gallery last week, the focus is always on the people and the charities. It's never about her. And that sort of selfless service, that quiet, feminine dignity, That is what is so powerful, and that is what commands respect. She's such an asset to the royal family, and to know that she was technically what they called a commoner, I feel like she has brought more elegance and just a regal nature to that family. It's so glorious, and I personally cannot wait to see the woman she is going to grow into, especially when she becomes Queen of England. It is going to be a sight to see. So thanks for taking this little trip down memory lane over the past year, everything that Catherine has had to undergo, but yet she comes out the other side more glorious and more inspirational than ever before. Are any of you cancer survivors? Let me know in the comments. How has Catherine's journey affected the way you look at your own cancer journey? For me personally, just to know that Catherine has gone through something that I have gone through makes me love her even more. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will speak to you very soon. Bye.